Hey folks, John with A&J Outdoors, and welcome to another podcast slash vlog. And I always mess that up, so it's common. With me today is Mr. Melo P, and I'll let him say his last name again. We just practiced. I just practiced. I nailed it, but
You got it. You got it good.
I just don't want to mess it up on camera because I know.
Yeah, you got it pretty good. So yeah, Melo Palacios.
Palacio. All right. So
Palacios. Yeah.
Melo is a local fisherman here in the San Antonio area. He's not just a fisherman, but he's also a fishing guide down here, and he's involved in a lot of things. Last week we had Oscar from Fin Addicts on the
Fanatics.
show, and he's been involved with those guys. He does the Veterans Day that we've talked about, so does a lot of that stuff. So tell us a little bit about your background in fishing and whatnot.
In fishing, so yeah, I'll be 45 actually here in a week. Woo! So
Young punk for me.
yeah, pretty young for you, but old for everybody else. But yeah, no, I grew up fishing with my dad and my grandfather, and we actually grew up in Laredo, Texas. So we used to fish a lot at Lake Casablanca, and then we would go down to Zapata, and we would fish out of Falcon Lake. But all of my growing up experience was just fishing off the bank. We never had a boat. And I moved up to San Antonio in 2000, I want to say 3 or 4. And
Okay.
shortly after I moved up here, decided to get a boat. Nothing too special, just a 16-foot, a Luma tracker, a very simple 40 HP engine. But I had that boat for about 8 years, and there's times I still miss that boat. It was a really nice boat.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I used to just go to the lake and didn't know much about fishing off the boat. But like with everything else, I tell people just talk to people and ask questions, and they kind of give you pointers, and it helps you out. And then so I moved on from that. Then I got a bigger boat. I got it was a Carolina Skiff 18, I believe it was a JVX. And shortly after I got that one, was talking to my wife and say, hey, I was thinking about doing the guiding thing. So I have a full-time job, and I was thinking about doing guiding just on my days off from work. And she kind of asked why. And at the time, I told her I didn't want to fish by myself, so I was always taking random strangers with me. So I'd always just post on Facebook and be like, hey, who wants to go to the lake? And I met a lot of people for the first time, didn't know who they were, and they always had a great time. So I said, well, hey, let's go and kick it off. So yes, I had that boat for about, I think, 6 years, and then I finally upgraded to a 20-foot Carolina Skiff. And so I've been, again, fishing all my life, and I've been doing the guiding thing for probably about 6 years now. Just like I said, part-time, but it's been fun.
Yeah, definitely. So you have to have a certain personality to be a
Yeah,
fishing guide,
yeah,
right? And you have to be, everybody uses that term, but it's true, a people person, right?
yeah.
I knew because I thought about it way back when, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm a grumpy old man, right? And I don't do well with strangers. Typically, I do, but I'm an introvert, so
Okay.
I don't like going out and being in crowds and all that. And my
Yeah.
wife's the opposite. We could be sitting in an airport and she's going to start a discussion with somebody she's never met before. Or me, I stay there looking grumpy, hoping they don't approach me and start a conversation with me. So I know you've got to have that in you, and I see that in you, of course.
Yeah, I have to probably base a lot of that off of my main job being in retail. It's customer service. I worked for Kmart for 8 years, and then Target for 18 years, and now I work for Total Wine. And one thing retail really pushes on you is you have to have customer service. So you have to be able to just talk to a bunch of, different people you meet every day and carry on conversations. And especially with the bigger retailers, in the big holiday seasons, we're hiring so many, new team members, anywhere from 40 to 60 team members. And you very quickly have to build relationships with all of them and get
Right.
to know them on semi-personal level, not too personal. So I think that helped out a lot.
Yeah.
So when I started doing the guiding thing, it was real easy for me to get people on my boat, feel comfortable, first of all, and then always try and find something in common. And I think for me, with a lot of my clients that they like is that I'm always able to find some sort of common ground. Um, Whether it be, sports or maybe movies that we watch or stuff that their kids are interested in. I always tell people if you poke hard enough, you'll find a common ground, and then you can use that to really carry on conversations, and it makes the trip a lot more enjoyable, I think. So
Yeah.
I think that's been a lot a good part of my success and a good part of having a lot of like repeat clients because they enjoy the conversation that's going on. And
Yeah, I don't see you have to advertise much.
I really don't advertise a whole lot.
Right.
Well, actually, I don't advertise at all. I have my Facebook page,
Yeah.
and then I have my YouTube channel. But beyond that, I'm not going on there and I'm not pushing my Facebook page saying like, hey, come check out my page. It's just a lot of it's just word of mouth, and
Yeah.
it's really helped me out these past 6, 7 years.
Yeah. Now you also do. I don't know if you still do it, but I know you were doing it for a while there. I don't know if it was monthly or what, but you're doing a free trip for veterans.
Yeah, so I used to do it was monthly trips, and I probably did that for a good, let's say 4.5 years. And that's something I kind of want to give back, to our military. So I never served myself, but my parents did, or my dad did, my grandparents did, and my grandfather, he passed away. It's probably been about 3 years now, and he was a three-war vet, so he was a World War II, Korea, Vietnam.
Wow.
So he loved all of his friends that he served with. Didn't talk a whole lot about his time there. I'm sure I probably can understand because there's stuff he doesn't want to bring up. But he was very involved, and anytime they had any kind of like ceremonies or anything going on Laredo where he was from, he'd always show up. And he had a great voice, and he was always singing. And sometimes I'm able to post up some videos on on my Facebook page. But he had a very great voice, and he'd sing the national anthem. And he was just very involved, and he had a lot of pride. So did my dad, and so that was kind of something I wanted to do, just kind of give my appreciation back.
That's awesome.
I was never able to get my grandfather on my boat to fish with me, even though he showed us how along with my father. But yeah, that's just my way of kind of giving back to the veterans. And I haven't done a whole lot the past year and a half. I think my last one I did was probably a little less than a year ago. Well, a lot of that's just now we have a newborn son. So
Yeah.
Mateo, you've seen pictures of him.
Oh
So
yeah.
he's 2 now. He's running all over the place. So yeah, so when he came along, my trips got even more limited because I got to spend more time at home. So I just haven't had the opportunity to do many veteran trips on my own personal level, but I still do help out like with fanatics. So every year I've made it a point when they have their military on the water. I always make it a point to volunteer, and I always make it a point to be off from work somehow, some way. I'm off that Saturday, so I can be able to help out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. You've been doing that. I think
I've
you
been
even
helping.
helped out before Finac took it over from us when I was doing it with
Yeah,
STCA, I think.
I've been. I don't know. It's been because I did it on my old boat that I
Yeah.
had. So, and I was doing it before I was even guiding. So it's probably been about 8 years,
Yeah.
maybe, that I've been
Yeah.
helping
About
out with
8 or 9 years ago we started it. So yeah.
that. Yeah. So definitely before I started guiding, because I wasn't a guide when I first started doing it.
Yeah.
So it's been a while,
Yeah. That's
but it's
cool.
a lot of fun. I love taking those guys out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And they always they're good for some stories too.
Oh yeah.
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 Always
Especially once they get some beers in them, man, they start
Yep.
telling some real good stories.
Absolutely. So talk about the family a little bit. You ain't gotta share more than you want to, but just
Yeah. No problem. So like I said, so Laredo native moved up here. Um, I have my daughter. You've probably seen her in some pictures and videos. So we've got a pretty wide gap.
yeah, I noticed
So
that.
my daughter's going to turn 21 in April,
Wow.
and then we got our 2-year-old son. Obviously, different wives. My daughter's from my first marriage, and then my son Mateo's with Sheena, who I'm married to now. We've been together for about, I think, 15 years. She might hit me, but yeah, I think it's been about 15 years now.
You better get that etched
Yeah.
in your brain, brother.
Yeah, I kind of like looking over my shoulder to see if she runs into the garage and hits me. But and actually, it's funny though. I'm actually better on dates than she is. So she
Wow.
tends to forget some of the dates, which is kind of awkward. Usually, it's the females that are better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I tend to remember more dates more than her. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got. And then we got our dog Kira. Kira's come on quite a bit of my
Her on the
videos.
boat before.
Yeah, she comes out on the boat. Not so much now as she gets older.
Yeah.
When she was younger, she was always like eager, up in the morning, ready to go out with me. And it's funny because if I was getting ready for work, she didn't move from the bed. But if I was off from work, I could just be getting out of the shower and I'm not even in my clothes yet. And she knew. It's like she knew what day was fishing. And she's already up and she's ready to go. But yeah, this past year and a half, she's a lot slower, and she just likes to stay in bed. She doesn't like getting out. So if I get her to the lake, I have to pick her up and I have to like
Very
drag her with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much our family. Like I said, my dad lives here in San Antonio. Also, he comes out and quite a bit of my videos. Um, he showed us how to fish, and I am a twin also. I don't know if you ever seen my brother. So I'm a twin. He doesn't get to go with me as often as I would like, but he's gone with me a few times as well.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
yeah.
So, what do you guide for? What kind of fish? If I was calling up Melo, which again, what is the name of your guide service, by the way?
So my guide service is OCD Guide Service, and it is what it stands for. So it's obsessive compulsive disorder. So
Good. I like it.
yeah, and it's so the way this came about was I was trying to think of names, for my guide service, and my wife had kind of mentioned she said, well, what about fishing with Mello? And I said, well, we have fishing with Manny. He's another great guide out of the lake.
Yep.
I've known him for years, and it's just it was too close. So we kind of thought about it. We were at dinner one night, and I told her, I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do OCD fishing, and she's like, that's stupid. And I was like, I mean, it's pretty good. It kind of makes sense. And if you've ever fished with me on the boat, as my clients can attest to, because anyone who's ever fishing me the first time, they're like, well, why did you pick that name? And once they start fishing with me, they're like, we get it, because I'm always wiping down the boat. If a fish gets blood anywhere in the boat, there I am with my towel and I'm cleaning it. And I like my boat to be clean. And I know Scott, he's a good friend of both of ours, Scott Burnell.
Yep.
Like he always makes fun of me that he says my boat always looks brand spanking new.
Yeah, mine
But
doesn't.
yeah, and that's how OCD came about. So it's OCD fishing. It was a pretty good name. It
Yeah.
stuck. It definitely matches my personality. Um, yeah. So as far as what we fish for, I primarily try and stick to two different places. Calaveras Lake, and that's just because that's one of the first lakes I fished at when I came down here. And for that lake, primarily we target redfish because that's what everybody in San Antonio wants.
Mhm.
Freshwater redfish. You don't have to make the 3-hour drive to the coast. It's readily available. So most of my trips probably are going to compose of redfish. I do some catfishing also. I try and do either a drifting method. I know you do some drifting on
Yeah.
your videos, or sometimes I might anchor, but I really like the drifting method a lot better. I think it produces more.
Yeah, me too.
Um, as far as probably not the quantity, but I think it produces more quality. Is probably what I meant to say. And so yeah, we'll do those two types of fishing at the Calaveras Lake, and that's usually from about mid-March to say maybe November. And then after that, we'll switch, and then we start going down to the river for the white bass, which this year has been,
Really.
yeah, bad. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
real bad. Yeah.
I've seen some posts, but yeah, I I don't know if we have time today, but I can tell you, me and Joel were down there this past Saturday. We went
Okay.
to the lake, right?
Yeah.
And we had multiple bad things happen. And I don't know if you knew they're having a tournament
Yeah.
with 191 boats.
Yeah.
We
I
didn't
was
know that. We got to Callahan and they're like, there's
no
the river's
parking.
closed. There's no parking. You got to go to South Shore. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that was just one of many things that went wrong for us that day. But, anyways, yeah, so
Yeah.
white bass are running the river. Usually you're slaying them down there on the Frio, which runs into
Yeah.
Choke Canyon.
Yes.
And
So
you don't do
usually,
Oasis?
so I did the Noises probably about 6, 7 years ago, and I never tried the Frio. And then I kept hearing people talk about 99 Bridge, 99 Bridge, and I finally wanted to figure out where 99 Bridge was. So me and my dad went one day to 99 Bridge, and I was like, A, it's closer to
Yep.
San Antonio. I don't have to drive as far. And then B, the river is not as wide or as long as the Nueces. Because
Right.
the Nueces, when you launch at 59, I don't know what the actual mileage is. I think it's almost 9 miles till you hit the lake. I mean,
Yeah, I think it is about that.
that's a long stretch of river to be looking for white bass.
Yeah.
And 99 bridges, that's not the case. I mean, they're either on the right side of the bridge or the left side of the bridge, but in either case, it's not that far of a trip. So we started going there, and I started liking it a lot. And years past, we've been looking at pictures, and last year was probably the earliest that we started catching them. We started catching them late November. But we had a lot of real good cold spells in November that we think dropped the water temp, and so it started getting the fish to move in quicker. This year, I mean, it's cold today, but
Yeah.
we haven't had much of a cold season.
Yep.
So yeah, so usually last year, like I said, was probably the earliest we got them, like November. But years past, say maybe late December.
Yeah.
This year we're already in February. We're in February, and they're not on the river yet. So I have caught them in two trips this season, but it's been in the main lake. It hasn't been in the river.
Okay. So yeah, we fished. I was looking for those humps and stuff, but we had troll motor, kaput.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a horrible day at the lake.
Yeah, yeah. No, you gotta have that iPilot. You need to have that iPilot working. I took Scott with me, Scott Burnell. We went on the last trip, and I took one of my buddies, Jesse. And so Jesse's got his own boat, but he doesn't have iPilot. He's never, really been on a boat that's had it before. And so we were catching them, but we had to keep moving. I mean,
Right.
10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards. And after a while, he was like, okay, now I see why you need this for a lake this size. I said, yeah, because if you throw your anchor, I mean, you're going to pick a spot. It's like, hey, that's your spot. Fish it for an hour and then move to another spot. I said, you need an iPilot so you can kind of like just jump and jump and jump spot to spot. But yeah, we were getting them on those humps.
Yeah, that's what we tried. It was crowded by the time we got out to the humps.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few spots, and all we could do was drift them. So you'd have just a moment, you'd see some fish, and then they're gone. So it really was a bad day for us. But that's the last year when we went, we got them in the cove right there at Callahan, and we saw them on the humps. And we did really good last year. So we had high hopes this year. But I think you're right as far as I'm not hearing a lot of people talking about the river being good with so I think it's the late season. It's just this cold front we have now, maybe it'll make a difference. When we were on the lake Saturday, water temps were 55 to 57.
Oh, so that's already
getting better now.
Yeah, so that's already lower than because you were there Saturday, I was there the week before on Sunday, and it was 58. So that's good that it's dropping already.
Yeah,
because that's what it needs. But I know one of my friends, David Ortega, he's a guide also, Second Chance Fishing. He just went to the river. What are we today? Thursday. He went on Tuesday. Same spots that we fish all the time, and he told me he didn't catch one fish.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's what we both are thinking. Hopefully, with this cold spell, hopefully it'll start getting them moving down there. But I know when I tried the river about 3 weeks ago, the hydrilla was everywhere.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, and so I was like, so that should have been my sign to just get off the river and go somewhere else, because usually that stuff is dead by the time the white bass start going in there. Right. So I should have just got back on my trailer and gone to the main lake.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel bad because we made the decision to put in at South Shore and try to fish instead of going to 99. Now I don't feel bad about not going to 99.
It was just a waste of gas. That's all you would have done.
Yeah, definitely.
But the Nueces, they are getting them there. I know I've been seeing quite a bit of pictures out of the Nueces, so they are catching them there. But they're catching them like I was talking about. Some of the guys I'm talking to, they're catching them near the lake. So from when you launch,
that's a long haul.
That's a long haul to get down there, and I'm like, nah, I'm not about that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. If you can get them up around Choke, it's a much better trip than having to go down the Nueces.
Oh yeah.
And that little ramp in the area gets crowded really quick on a weekend down at the Nueces, 59 Bridge.
Oh yeah, I've used that ramp before, and it's you'll be waiting for a while if there's a line. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so mainly reds in twin. Well, not Bronic, but Calaveras. Some cat.
Calaveras, yeah, and there's a reason why I don't do browning. I'll tell it in a bit.
Okay, and
Yeah,
then white bass down around Choke Frio River, one that area
yeah,
are your main things, right?
yeah, yeah.
So go ahead. What's up with Bronic? Oh,
So
the range.
that there you go, the range. I don't like that. So it's it's just unfortunate, um, but that gun range that is there. Um, in the summertime, the Reds, for the most part, they're in the back part of the lake, and that's where that gun range is at.
Yeah.
And me and my dad, maybe 8 years ago, it was on my old boat. We were back there fishing, and we had bullets go by us, and so we picked up anchor and we hightailed the hell out of there.
That's good.
And that's really my biggest reason why I don't want to go down there. A, I don't want to get shot.
Right.
B, I don't want to have clients on my boat get shot.
Right.
Another guy, TJ, he posted some pictures this year. He was back there of a bullet that went through his canopy. And
Oh.
yeah, and so it's
And they always say
Browning.
they investigate, and the range has got a berm that they can't,
Yeah,
But
nah,
now I've been on Broad. I fished Bronic quite a few times back in that area, and I've never had bullets fly by. But
mm,
since I've heard the stories about it, I have not been there, and
yeah,
don't want to be motivated to be the first one to
no.
go in there and get
You
popped.
you can you can look up. I don't know if you've ever seen the video. There's a kayaker that has a video, and he's got his GoPro running, and you hear the wheezing of the bullet go right by his head. I mean, if you just type in Browning Lake kayak gun,
Yeah.
it's probably the first video that's on there.
Oh,
And you go, it's about the halfway mark. I mean, it is crystal clear the sound when it passes him.
wow.
And that's scary. And we're like,
Yeah,
man.
that is scary. So that makes good
So
sense. Now, that's what you guide for, but you go down and get salty too, don't you? Now and then.
yeah, yes, I do. So we do as a family, we'll do about maybe 2 trips a year. We'll go down to South Padre, which is a long drive, and it's
Yeah.
like 5.5 hours. And we'll go down there. And I don't have a captain's license. I always ask, people ask me like, "Hey, can we go do a guided trip on the coast?" And I can't. I don't have a captain's license.
Because you have
So
to
it's
be
just,
Coast Guard licensed
yeah.
down there to be a guide.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different ballgame. For freshwater, you walk into any store that sells licenses and you just say, "I want a freshwater license," and you're done. That's it. So anybody who's wanting to know how to be a freshwater guide,
There you go.
go to Academy, go to Bass Pro, Walmart, whoever sells licenses.
Yeah.
You go in there and you just say, "Hey, I want a freshwater guide license." Done deal.
Yeah.
You're a guide.
Crazy.
You're officially a guide.
Yeah.
But for a
Legally.
captain's, yeah, legally you're a
Yeah.
guide. Um, but for saltwater, no, that's a whole nother thing. I think
Yeah.
I think the course is in Houston. I think it's a 5-day course, and last I heard, I think it's $3,500.
Yeah.
And you have to have, I
Apprenticeship or
don't know,
something, right?
you have to have like, I think it's 150 hours registered on the water.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot of steps,
It is.
and for me that I only go to the coast twice a year.
Yeah.
It's not worth my investment to do
Yeah.
that.
I would
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I
So
was
yeah, so
looking. We've got a little house up in Michigan that we
mhm.
go to in the summertime, and when are both retired, we'll spend our whole summers up there, right? And for a side gig, I was thinking, well, I could do some walleye guiding up there on Saginaw Bay, which is part of the Great Lakes. It's on
Yeah,
Lake Huron.
okay.
No, the Great Lakes are covered by the Coast Guard, just like saltwater is.
Oh,
So
really?
you can't just you got to go through the same exact process. So I'm like, no, not for a part-time gig where I'm just going to do it for the fun of it. I'm not doing all
Yeah.
that. That's too much
No,
work.
yeah, that's too much. So it's better anyways because when I go down on the salt, I just want to fish. My daughter goes sometimes. I go with my friends, and we just want to just go have a good time. And there's no pressure. If you catch, great. If you don't, it's not a
Yeah.
big deal. You're just out there having a good time. But we've been pretty fortunate the last couple of years. Somebody shared a sunken shrimp boat site, and I think it's like 5 miles offshore. And we've been fortunate every time we've gone to, we've caught some good fish there, snappers, spadefish,
That's what I
black
gotta ask
grouper.
you. When I go down, I've seen the snapper you've got there. When I go
Mm,
down to, because I usually go around Port Aransas area, and
okay.
you go out the jetties there, or you could go out the jetties down at Packery Channel. But they get treacherous, right?
Oh yeah.
Based on wind and tide.
Oh, okay.
It's real dangerous going in and out. So I went out once with my boat when it was real calm. We just went around the jetty and fished the beach side of the jetty. And then when we came back, we were in 3 to 4 footers that were like that close together. And my
Oh, that
little
sucks.
18-foot boat was like, and so I said, I'm not going out there again in this little boat because the weather can change on you.
Yeah.
But it seems like, is it like that down there too? Or is it more easy to go in and out without any issues?
I don't have any issues getting outside of that jetty. Um, from the looks of it, I would say it's probably the same width as the one out
Right.
of Port Aransas. But typically, like when I go, at least, I err more on caution. So
Yeah.
if the swells are 2 feet, which probably more like really experienced dog guys are probably like, oh, that's nothing, 2 feet. For me, I'm like, sorry, I got my daughter and I got my
Yeah.
kids. Like I don't want to chance it.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want to be like scared the whole time that I'm out there. So for me, it has to be like 1.5 or less swells.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it has to read that like the whole day. So the times that we've gone, if it shows that for the whole day, we go out and then we come in. So we haven't had an issue where we come back and say the
Yeah.
weather's changed and it gets really, really bad. No, we haven't had that, fortunately,
And you're
for us.
usually down there summertime, right?
Like late July.
Late July. See,
Yeah.
so, and that's another thing. I'm usually down there either fall
Mhm.
or winter, and for some reason the weather's worse in fall or winter. They get more smooth time out there on the bay
Yeah.
uh, in the summertime. So, or the
And we've
Gulf.
gone, yeah, we go in June also, but in June we go to Port Aransas because we do deep sea headquarters.
That's
And so
right.
we
You
go
go
we
out.
go out on the yeah,
Usually
we go
take
on
your
the big
daughter
one.
out there with you, right?
Yeah. So that's been like we started it off as a father-daughter annual trip.
Yeah.
So this year will be year 12 that we go out. So we made it a pretty good tradition, and we finally this past year we got my good friend Leo. He was my best man at my wedding. So him and his daughter. So now they're starting to go with this. So we've kind of made a commitment that every year we're gonna try and do that. Yeah.
That's cool.
So it was
That's
good.
very
Yeah,
cool.
it was pretty fun. We enjoy it.
That's cool.
I wish I could get down there more often, but
That's how I
I
feel. If I could live
yeah
down there, I would. It's like the salt water just infects you. My wife, she's not a big a fan of going down there with the boat, but she loves to surf fish. She loves to go down Padre Island, National Seashore,
yeah.
and just walk out lines, cast them out, and see what you're going to catch, and set up the canopies and the whole
Oh
nine
yeah.
yards. She loves that. So
I I I like doing that too. It's very relaxing, but I have absolutely zero luck on the shoreline. It sucks. So it's funny. This year we went. So it was my wife's birthday, and we had some stuff going on with the family, and I wanted to get her mind off of it. So I told her I didn't give her a choice. I just said, hey, we're gonna go. We're gonna
nice.
spend a week down there, decompress, whatever we got to do. And the pompano were starting to run. I've never caught a pompano before.
Me
So
neither.
I'm researching on YouTube, watching all these videos. I'm calling people. I think I may have even called you, and I'm trying to get tips for pompano. So I get my rigs and I get everything set up, and we go out there one morning. Got our canopy. We're there for like 8 hours. We get some whiting, hardheads, of course. Nothing that great. And I'm talking to this guy, and it's him and his wife. They're actually from France, so they were vacationing. So they were just there. Got to talking to them. They're there for the whole week. And then we said, okay, we're calling it a day. We packed up, we left. The next morning, we went to the same exact spot, set up our tent. Husband and wife come down. They're like, oh, man, like 20 minutes after you left, some other guy came to your same spot. He just threw out 2 rods. He probably got like 12 pompanos. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, come on. And
That's
he's
how the
like,
surf is.
yeah, and he's like, yeah, let me show you the picture. So he's not even fishing. He's just there on vacation. So he's like, yeah, let me show you the picture. So I'm like, come on, dude.
That's crazy.
Absolutely sucks. Yeah, and then
I'm
so that's
saying I catch whiting.
yeah.
I first time I bring Audrey a fish the surf, she catches red. I've never even caught a red out of the surf yet. And
Nope.
then the next time, that last time, well, not the next time, but the last time we were down there, she caught the first pompano. I've never caught a pompano, and she's got a pompano now. So
Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah.
yeah, she's lucky on the surf, so that's probably why she likes it. Because most places she can outfish me, but I take
Yeah.
credit because I put her on the fish.
Yeah.
The beach, it's not the same. You know what I mean?
No. So it's funny. Like you said, your wife gets the first fish. So when we go down there, she fish the bay for speckled trouts. Hey, we've caught some. I had one day 2 years ago where I probably caught like 15, but they were all undersized, nothing that great or whatever. And so my wife never goes with me on the coast. She just stays at the pool, whatever.
Yeah.
But this past year, she was like, "Hey, I want to go out with you one day, but it's just me and you, not my buddy, not my daughter, just me and her." And I'm like, "That's fine, let's go."
Cool.
We anchor up. I mean, I shit you not. Oh, sorry. I kid you not. Like 5 minutes in, the rod hits and she gets it, and I think it was a 19-inch speckled trout.
Dang.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding?
Big. That's my PB is 19.
I know, like, are you kidding? Like, I haven't caught one that big yet. And she whatever, she reels it in. She throws out the line again. She gets another one, but it's like 16 inches. But still, I'm like, what the hell? And then she got a shark.
Oh shit.
It was a pretty good sized shark, and then we let that one go. And then she caught a Jack Crevalle. A small, I mean, not a big one, but
Dang,
still, I was like, I've never caught a Jack Crevalle.
Yeah,
like, what the?
Not here, I haven't. In Florida.
I know, and I'm like, you don't even like coming fishing. How the hell are you catching all this stuff? It's stupid crazy, but I mean, she had a good time, so
Yeah.
I was happy because obviously I need her to have a good time, so she goes out more often.
Yeah, that's the same way I feel. That's the same way I feel.
Yep.
All
love
right,
it, man.
We're rolling to the end of the podcast here.
Sweet.
Do me a favor. If somebody wanted to contact you to do some fishing with you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
So probably the best way, text message, obviously, and I'll explain why besides my Facebook page. But you can call me or text message me. It's 210-478-8200. So one more time, 210-478-8200. If for some reason I don't answer if you call, just send a text message. Nowadays with all the spam calls that come through, if I get a call and no one leaves a message, typically I'm blocking the number because the spam is just ridiculous nowadays.
Yeah.
So I usually tell people, send me a message because then I can respond to it. And the other way will be through my Facebook page, and that's OCD Fishing. And you can find me through there. The problem with the Facebook page, I don't know what's up with their page. It's always been that way, like the 7 years that I've had it. If someone sends me a message, I don't get a notification that, hey, someone sent me a message. I have to actually go into the app to then see I have a message. Yeah, to see I have a message. So it's kind of weird. And then sometimes some of the messages that are in there, they go to like a spam file or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to see like other messages, and it's really annoying. I don't like it very much. So I typically try and tell people just text message me. That's the easiest way.
Text message them, people. Text message them.
Please, text message. Oh, and my thumb. Yeah, I don't even see my thumb.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
see you tried to cut that
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a cool fishing story either.
No, well, slicing an onion. Yeah, cutting an onion. And what's sad I was slicing the onion, and I was like, oh, I'm done. And I put the knife in the sink, and then I was like, oh, I'll do one more cut. And I take it out, and on that cut, I sliced my finger. Yeah, it sucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is, and you were just talking about fishing speckled trout. So we had that big freeze last year, and there was a pretty big kill-off of our speckled trout population, lower portion from, say, Corpus down through towards down almost to South Padre, that area. And they changed size limits, right? And they changed the amount you could keep. Well, over the last couple months, they've been having, they've got an idea. They want to reduce or change the size limit from a minimum of 17 to a maximum of 23. You can only keep 3, and they're extending it. So it's from the start of South Padre all the way up Matagorda. right?
Okay.
Before it stopped at the Causeway, JFK Causeway. It wasn't north of that. Now it is. So there's been public. They've had times for the public to speak about it. Well, I've talked about this in some of my other vlogs and podcasts. So I'm looking at Parks and Wildlife. They had their commission meeting on the 26th and 27th of January. I knew that's when it was coming. I thought
Right.
that's when they would announce something. But looking at it, the only thing they've announced is that they are going to propose those changes.
Okay.
So any input, that didn't like that, well, they're not going by that input. They're going with what they originally had decided. And so I don't know when it becomes effective. I don't know how quickly they make that change and get the word out to everybody. Because, one day you're allowed to keep at a certain spot a 15-inch, and the next day it's 17. So I'm not sure how they get the word out. I do know in it does say that it ends on a specific day in August 31st, right?
Okay.
2023, it ends. And
Okay.
it reverts back to the old 15-inch minimum and keep up to 5. So, but that's where they're at right now. So that's going to be coming out. Again, I thought it would have been just official. That's the rule, but it's just official that that's their proposal. So I guess we'll see probably within the next week or two something coming from Texas Parks and Wildlife to let us know what's going on.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of heartburn with it. I know I saw tons of video of dead fish down there during that freeze. I understand that the trout were really susceptible to it, especially down Baffin Bay and all that area. There are some folks I've seen that have complained about it, them extending it up all the way to Matagorda, because a lot of folks don't feel like that area was impacted as hard. So I'm not like, yes, this is the best thing ever, but I'm also not like, hey, this is horrible. When I go down there, I'll follow the rules, and it doesn't bother me that much. I seldom catch 5 keeper trout. So if I can catch 3, then woohoo, I'm good.
I mean, so like for me, I just trust that they've done the research, and I just trusting that they're doing the best with the information that they have to ensure that we have a successful fishery for years and years to come.
Yeah,
might it be an inconvenience for a year or two? Probably. But you know what? It is what it is. And if they're trying to look out for, the fishing of the future, hey, so be it. And if they change the limits from 5 to 3 or 2 or whatever the case may be, then that's your new limits, and you just kind of abide by the rules, and then you just move on from there. That's pretty much how I just see it. But again, like you, I don't catch very many anyway, so it doesn't affect me a whole lot. Hey, we got some white bass there.
Yeah, we're gonna look at those in a second. I just want to make sure I had them available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I really wish they would adjust some of the rules down here for catfish, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's been one of my issues. A lot of people just don't realize, especially in the Twin Lakes, they stock catfish. Yeah, they do. They stock channel cats.
Yeah.
So the big blues, they're the ones that make the baby blues. You take all of them, they're not stocking blue cats. So a lot of people just don't know that. So I try to educate people whenever I can. Yeah, it's that time. So I did this with Oscar last week. So I figured we would pop in some of your photos. So what we got there?
We got some. This is some white bass. This is looks like this is a recent pic. This is from this year. Yeah. So that was my solo trip. So I actually had that was out of the main lake at Choke Canyon, and I actually went out because a company called Runkle Reels. I think they've been around since 2017, 2018. I might be wrong, but they actually reached out to me through my YouTube to see if I would product test a rod for them. Oh, cool. So not a rod, a reel. So they sent me a reel. It's a Runkle 3000 spinning reel. So I took it out there and I had to do some product testing. So the only thing they kind of told me was they were going to send it to me, but after I got it, I had to put out some sort of content within a week of getting it.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, because they gave me a promo code for a discount if anybody wanted to order, and the
Yeah.
promo code runs for 6 months. So they wanted to make sure that I got it out as quick as possible. So yeah, that was a pretty good trip. On that day, I had never fished the main lake before, like ever. I
Oh
always
wow.
stuck. Yeah, I'd always stuck to the rivers, and a buddy of mine kind of gave me some spots to kind of check out. Hit a few of them. Wasn't finding a whole lot, and finally got to that particular spot, and I think I ended up with about 30. But I just kept what I needed for dinner.
Yeah.
And some people looking at it, if they're not familiar with white bass, they might be like, "Well, that's a lot of fish." White bass, they're
Yeah.
not. That's not a lot.
No, that's not.
They're not very big fish. I think the smallest I had on that day was probably 11 inches, and the biggest was probably 12 and a half. So
Yeah.
it made a good meal. Yeah,
Crappie or something like that. That
yeah.
size.
So it was a good meal for about 5 of us.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What's
Mm,
going on there?
who's in this picture? So
Some of your
this was,
customers.
yeah, so this obviously some customers. This was this year. Trying to remember what part of the lake. So I mean, obviously that's Calaveras Lake.
Yep.
Trying to remember what specific part of the lake that was. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of how some of my trips go. The dad's not in that picture. Clearly, I don't think I've ever had a trip where it's just been the kids.
Right.
So the dad's probably off camera. Um, but another fun trip with some kids. Oh yeah, so now I know who these guys are. Now I remember. So they watch my YouTube videos a lot. So they really want to get out there on the lake, and they've been following me on YouTube for years. And they
Ah,
finally got an opportunity to go out on the lake with me. And man, that day started off rough. You know,
they do
we
sometimes.
were we were in one spot. We weren't catching. We had kayakers, trolling on either side of the boat, and they're hooking up. And I'm just like, what in the hell is going on here? So I hightailed it out of that spot. We tried a couple other spots. Weren't really producing a whole lot. And then towards the end of the trip, we went back to where we started, and we finally caught some fish. So it was pretty good.
Nice.
It was a
That
good
middle
trip.
one's that's a
Oh
big
yeah,
red there.
yeah. That one's probably about 28, maybe. If I take a guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And a cat just to add to the bag.
Random cat, man.
Yep.
They pop up every now and then.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, so this is Fanatics.
Yep.
So this is that's their military day on the water. This one's probably from about 4 years ago, most likely. Yeah.
No
So
beard.
no beard and thinner. I'm about
Yeah.
probably. I don't have that dad bod rocking right there, so that I'm probably about 15 pounds lighter on that one. So yeah, so that's probably it's probably about 4 or 5 years ago on that one. So it
Yeah.
was a pretty good trip. He took his dad with him, so we had a pretty fun day. We had a hard time finding him that morning, but we still ended up with looks like 7, so not
Yeah,
too
you
bad.
hammered them. Those are some
Yeah,
good
not
looking
too bad.
cats.
Yeah,
Those
so
have
a
some
good
good
fun day on that
fillets.
one. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
All right, now who's this?
that's my wife.
Yeah.
That's my wifey. So that's at the Pearl. So
Ah,
I've
okay.
got so you don't see my son Mateo, but I'm rocking the diaper bag.
Nice.
So if I got the diaper bag, that means he's somewhere there. So this was last summer. We
Yeah.
like going down to the Pearl. We like
Never
going just
been.
to. You never been to the Pearl? Oh my
I've
God,
never been to the Pearl.
dude, you got to go. So the Pearl's great. It's got a bunch of great food. If you go on the weekends, they have like market days, and for the most part, not really a whole lot of stuff that's like that you can eat on the spot for the market days. It's all stuff you can buy and take home and cook later.
Right.
But
Right.
the but the Pearl itself, they have a bunch of different restaurants. They have a big like wide open area that with some tables and you can sit. They've got like some water spouts for the kids in the summer. They can kind of run and get wet. But we like going because we go and obviously we're drinking, so we get some beers or sometimes my wife gets some margaritas, and we'll walk around. Sometimes we'll just walk down the river walk, and it's real fun. We love going to Pearl. Love it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that this year.
Oh heck yeah,
Definitely.
it's fun. It is fun. We were just there last Thursday. We went down there again.
We need to do it then.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's Mateo.
There he is.
So there's my son. He's kind of getting out of his Dino Rancher phase. So Dino Ranchers, it's a show on Disney,
Okay.
and so it's a cool show. We like it. It's it's a family that lives on a ranch, and all the animals are dinosaurs. Okay,
Oh,
so it's called Dino Ranchers, and it's really interesting because the parents are of different ethnicities. I believe the father's white, the mom, I think she's black, but then the three kids they have, they're all adopted, and they
uh,
don't really say in the show they're adopted per se, but they're all adopted. So they have one that's Asian, they have one that's white, and they have one that's Mexican. And so the Mexican kid, his name's Miguel, and so that's how our son got dressed up as. So I kind of made a joke to my wife. I was like, "Well, why is he the Mexican kid? Just because he's Mexican? Like, what's what's the deal?" But it's a really cute show. We do love it. So the outfit that he's wearing, my mother, she actually went and she got the shirt, and she had somebody go and kind of like stitch it together, and she got the pants and the boots and the hat.
let's
And the
say he's
hat,
rocking some boots there.
yeah, he's got some boots on too, and the hat. This was probably one of two or three pictures that we got of him wearing the hat, because he was not having it, and he's smiling there, which is
Yeah.
great. But for the most part, he does not like stuff on his head.
Yeah.
And the Braves won. Go Braves!
Oh, okay.
World Series. World. I'm a Braves fan. All
Okay.
right. So here's one. This is one of my few successful trips bank fishing at Calaveras Lake.
Oh, I have seen you do some bank fishing trips.
Yeah, so I always tell people they'll message me either on YouTube or Facebook or text messages, and they're like, "Hey, you have any tips for the bank?" And I'm like, "Yeah, call somebody else because
Same here.
yeah, I'm horrible with bank fishing." But there's times you want to go that you just don't want to take the boat. You
Yeah.
want to just go and just kind of hang out and just decompress, and that's what I like doing. But more so now when I have Mateo, I don't want to get on a boat yet because he's too small.
Right.
At least not me and him. We've taken him out twice, but my wife has to be with me.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, especially this past year, he's up in the morning, like at 4:35. He's up. So I get up with him, and we
Go fishing.
pack up the truck, and we go to the lake, and we'll hang out. I mean, it's not long, like 3 hours, because he won't last that long up there.
Yeah.
But we go, and usually the videos are, if you watch them, it's just me talking to the camera, Mateo running around, like
Yeah.
not doing a whole lot of fishing. But this day we went, and man, as soon as we were in the truck waiting for daylight to break, and as soon as we got a little bit of daylight, I threw out my two rods that I had, and in like I think 20 minutes we had three keepers. And then
Dang.
that was it. And I'm calling my dad, and I'm like, "Dad, you got to get over here. I'm already at my limit." And he was supposed to meet us down there, and he shows up probably like 8:39, and from that time to 11, not a bite, not one single bite after. So he missed it. So we were, they always say right place, right time. We were
Yep.
just at
Exactly.
the right place at the right time, but that was a pretty good day.
Yep. They got tails and they move.
Oh yeah.
That ain't Calaveras.
That's Bronny.
Yeah.
So, so this is our Cabo trip. So this we went to Cabo San Lucas. This one is probably, I think this is pre-marriage, so it's probably 6 years ago.
Wow.
And we're supposed to be going again this year. And I'll kind of
Oh,
talk a little bit about that. But this one, when we went, it was me, my in-laws, and my brother-in-law. So that's my brother-in-law Louis in that picture. So we went, and that was the second day. So the first day, it's a striped marlin that we ended up catching. And the first day, we got there. I think we got to Cabo on a Sunday, and I had this trip on this day was planned on Tuesday, and so we're at the house that we're staying at in Sunday night, and my mother-in-law and sister-in-law and my wife, they're all talking about their spa. They're getting on Monday, and I'm like, all right, whatever. They're getting the spa. We kind of, I knew they were going to do that. And then my brother-in-law, who's in this picture, and my father-in-law, they're talking about their tee time because they play golf. And so I started looking at them. I was like, wait. So everybody has plans on Monday but me because everyone's going to be out doing something. Well, my other brother-in-law, he's like, well, yeah, I guess we have nothing to do. And I was like, well, hell with that. Let's go fishing. I'll pay for another trip. I don't care. So we went on the first day we went out and we caught I think it was an 88-pound striped marlin.
Nice.
So we were happy with that. The next day we went out and we got this one. I think this one was 140 pounds, I think.
Nice.
So definitely a lot bigger. Definitely a fish that was on my bucket list. And
Yeah,
we had a real good time up until the part when we went to the airport. And then it was a bummer after that because, so we catch these fish and we have a lot. I mean, those fish are so big. The meat is great. We cooked it one night.
Yeah.
But, there's just so much meat. So like the captain and the deckhand, I'm like, so we tipped them, our money or whatever. But then I also was like, hey, do you guys want some fish? Because this is way too much fish for us to eat.
right.
So I gave them fish. The guy who actually did the filleting. I mean, Cabo, they have different people do different things for you. So the captains caught it, but then they have somebody else who just fillets for everybody. So the guy who filleted, I was like, hey, you want some meat? He goes, yeah. So I gave him some. And I had two, like, I don't know, you're those big, like Coleman ice chests.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when it fits like 36 cans of beer or whatever. So we had that much fish still left over.
Oh man.
And so they tell us, they're like, yeah, just go to Walmart, get some styrofoam coolers, fill it up, and then just duct tape it. And then when you get to the airport, you can just take it back with you. So I'm like, great, not bad. Well, we did that, and then we get to the airport, and they're like, well, you can't check that in. And I'm like, why? They said, well, it's because it's not a hard shell cooler.
Oh man.
And I'm like, they told us we can bring this in, and they're like, no, you can't. No, so I'm getting upset, and I'm talking to them in Spanish because they talk to me in Spanish. So I'm telling them, like, well, what do you want me to do with this? And they're like, well, you can go and buy a cooler and then just transfer it to a cooler. And I'm like, I'm at the airport. I can't just leave to go to the Walmart in Mexico and get a cooler. So I'm pissed off, and it's a young girl that I'm talking to is behind the counter. But behind her, man, there's like this old guy. He looks like he's probably late 70s, and he's putting all the luggage on the conveyor belt, because they're all working to try and make whatever income they can. So I see him, and I talk to him in Spanish. I say, hey, señor. He goes, yes. I said, do you eat fish? He goes, yes, sir. Here, take these home.
Dang.
He's like, really? I said, yeah. He goes, what do you want for it? I said, nothing. Take it home. Feed your family. Whatever you want to do with it. So he took two big old coolers of fish, of marlin back with them. And initially I was upset, but later on, after a couple of beers, sitting in the airport, I tell my wife, I was like, you know what? That probably served him better because that probably would help feed his family or whatever for days or weeks on end. I said, so end result, we really didn't need it, and it probably helped them out better. But we're going again this March, and
you have better be
sure. Better be sure if I catch one, I'm getting a hard shell cooler.
Yeah, we went to Jamaica. I caught a 200-pound blue marlin.
Oh, nice.
And we ended up keeping a piece about that big that we took back to the resort with us, and they made a couple different meals for the four of us to eat because we caught two of them.
Okay.
Total. And then the rest of it, we let the crew and everybody else that was there at the dock split just because I knew I had no idea how I would get that back from Jamaica to the United States, so I didn't even try.
So let me ask you something. I'll share my experience. So, did you find the fight to be a little easy?
No.
Or was it hard for you?
Oh my God.
Was it hard for you?
Yeah, you gotta watch a video. When I was done fighting that fish, my hands were trembling. The guy before me, our friends that were with us, she got on first, and she lasted about 10 minutes. And then he took over. When he was done, they got a little cabin area with a couch. He was laid out on the couch.
Oh, wow.
While I'm fighting, they're pouring water down my neck and then giving me swallows of beer. I mean, it was
hard.
everything the toughest fish I've ever fought. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely probably the toughest fish I ever fought. But I don't know. I just thought it was gonna be a lot harder than that because I think the second one, which is the bigger one, I think I had it in less than 15 minutes.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, like,
Wow.
or maybe the strike marlins just don't fight that hard.
Yeah, I
Like
don't know.
that could be it. I don't know, but I was somewhat disappointed by it.
Yeah, but it tastes good.
Oh yeah, it's great on the grill. Oh my god, fantastic.
Yep.
So that's my pride and joy right there. Number one, it's my daughter.
Yep. Yep. That's
Like
your
I said,
fishing buddy on the charter
yeah,
boat when you go out.
yeah. That's my part-time guide right there.
Now,
So
she's in college now? No?
no, she graduated when she was living in Boise, Idaho, and then she moved down here about a year and a half ago. So now she lives in San Antonio. So she's planning. She's planning to go to school. She tells me she's gonna, and I keep, telling her she has to. Nowadays times are different. Back
More
back in
challenging.
back in our days, like I don't have a college degree. I just have a high school degree, but I did pretty good for myself through a lot of hard work.
Yep.
But that doesn't apply nowadays. Definitely not. And even having a degree doesn't even guarantee you anything.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell her, I said, you definitely need to go back to school and hopefully get a degree in something that she likes. But yeah, she's my angel. I love that girl.
All right, that's it for pictures.
Cool.
All right, there's the website. Oh shoot, that part shows our number. We're pretty dang close on numbers, aren't we?
Yeah, what am I at? 2,000 like 500 subscribers.
Yeah, and
What do you got right now?
subscribers. I think I'm 2,400, and then
Okay.
views. I'm at 7,000 something. You're at 6,000 something, just for the last 28 or 30 days.
Yeah.
So, but here we go. So that's the spinning reel you were talking about.
Yeah, that's the Runco Titans, the Runco Titan 2. So it's got a similar well, as far as the look, it looks almost exactly like a Penn Fierce.
Yeah,
It's got the kind of like the black on red.
Yeah.
So this one is specifically for salt/freshwater, which the Penn Fierces also kind of are, but I think they advertise more that it's freshwater. This one specifically advertises for fresh and salt. So I've only used it for the white bass. I haven't had a real test like on a redfish.
Right.
But even on the white bass, like it's very comfortable in the hand. It's very light. I kind of like it. It's got any reverse, but I don't use it. So it's pretty neat. I am liking it so far. One of my clients, he actually went and did the math with the discount, and I think he said it was like $52 after the discount or whatnot, and he said it's free shipping. I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at it myself to see what the cost is afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I was excited because that's that's the first company that's reached out to me to try and do anything.
Yeah.
And I've reached out to Penn, multiple times. I've sent them emails because my entire yeah, I know.
I love Penn. That's what I fish with too.
Yeah, I mean, my entire arsenal is Penn.
Yeah.
I think literally every single reel I own is a Penn reel. And so I was trying. Yeah, so I was trying to read.
That I fished before. Penn, but now everything's Penn.
Yeah. And so I reached out to them several times and told them, I have a YouTube channel, I'm a part-time guide, and I can't even get a response back to even say like, hey, not interested.
That sucks. How long have you been doing YouTube now?
Technically, I started the account. Oh God, my daughter was born in 2001. I probably started the account in 2005, but I didn't actually start really putting any videos. It was just kind of, I started it just so I can watch other people's videos or whatever. Right. So maybe 7 years, 8 years is when I finally started like putting my fishing videos. And if you go look at the very, very first ones, there's always music in the background. Like you never hear me talking or anything. It's always just a music overlay. And then I started getting a lot of copyright infringement.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing that, and now everything's just primarily everything's just audio. So yeah, I hate getting those damn copyright strikes.
Yeah. They hurt.
They
So
suck.
for those guys, for those of you looking, OCD Fishing, right?
Yep.
Just search it.
Mhm. Yep.
OCD Fishing. And I'm gonna put the links to your YouTube channel down below, and I could do your Facebook too. That way, they want to hit you up on Facebook, they can.
Oh yeah, and throw my number on there.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. So
I can
I
do that.
should. So I think this year, 2022, I'll probably start ramping up on trips again. So like I said, usually I was going out on my 2 days off from work, but since Mateo was born, I think I was only doing like one trip a week. But he just started daycare 3 weeks ago, so now, I mean, on my days off on Thursdays, he's going to be at daycare, so
Yeah,
I'll be able to get out and do a couple more trips. And
cool.
he's finally getting adjusted to daycare. Those first 2 weeks were rough, man.
I bet. I bet.
He did not want to get dropped off, and then since he never hung out with kids, I think after the first week and a half, he got the kudos, the germs from the kids,
Oh
and
yeah.
he got sick for like a week and a half,
Oh, yeah.
and but now he's back, and so now he's finally getting adjusted. He doesn't.
Good.
He used to cry the first 2 weeks, and now he runs to the door to get in. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah, so we're like, okay, that's good. So I'll be doing more trips now that he's now in school,
Yeah.
and I'll be able to get out to the lake more often.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm
Mm.
going to tell everybody watching, do me a favor. So I've got my A&J Outdoors channel where all my fishing videos, boat work videos, all those are at. And then this is the A&J Outdoors vlog channel, which is very small. I think right now 58 subscribers. So do me a favor, subscribe button right down there. It costs you nothing. Go ahead and click that bad boy. You can hit the notification bell beside it. That'll let you know each time I upload something to this channel. Again, it's my vlog channel. I'm trying to put up a vlog every week. Let me know. So the last 2 weeks, this week and last week, I've had guests on. I enjoy it, right? I think you
Yeah.
all enjoy it, but go ahead in the comments. Let me know if you enjoy it. Let me know if there's somebody you would like to see me have on here as a guest. Right now, it's just local folks, and I think that I kind of like that idea,
Yeah.
keeping it local right now. So, but do me a favor, just like, subscribe, comment, and we'll go from there. Melo, thank you for joining me. I've got my little whiteboard here. This is my my plan, for all these things. And
Oh, there you go.
your name and Oscar's name are the only names on there so far for guest ideas. So you
I
guys are the
would,
first two
you
guests.
know, I would definitely say if you get an opportunity, and I'm pretty sure they would be up for it. Um, David Ortega, he's also a military guy.
Okay.
Second Chance Fishing, really interesting story. I'll let him tell it of why it's Second Chance Fishing.
I like the
Um,
name already. Does he have
yeah,
a YouTube channel called Second
he
Chance Fishing?
he does not, unfortunately. It's just his guide service. But
I'll
the
hit you
other,
back channel for contact
yeah,
info.
yeah, and the other guy is Michael Escamilla. He does have a YouTube channel, and he's third degree fishing. Got a little
Oh, I heard
backstory
of
for
him.
that too. Yeah, he's a kayak guide out here. He's a really cool guy. I've only known him for maybe like 3 years, but I mean he's awesome. I mean I see him a lot at the river, especially. So he
Cool.
does a lot of kayak tours, and he's got a YouTube channel.
Cool.
So and you're talking about the salt, man. Anytime they got some flat waters, it's like
Yeah.
he just packs up that morning. He's gone, and
Uh,
he's getting some nice. I think in his last video, he got some really nice snappers out of his kayak.
Very
And I
cool.
was like, man,
Very cool.
that's cool. So he's another cool
Yeah.
guy. So those
I'm gonna have
two
to look
guys,
that up.
yeah, two guys you can kind of look up real quick. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, again, thanks folks for watching. I appreciate you sticking around. Thank you again, Melo, for joining us.
John, thanks for having me on. I
Hey,
do appreciate it.
there's nothing against having a repeat, so I'll probably hit you up again before the year's over with for sure.
Hey, I don't mind that at all.
All right, man. All right, folks. Peace out, and we will see y'all later.